Spirit's big front seat is one of the best ways to experience a first-class seat on a budget in the United States. From affordable base fares to bidding options, Spirit offers quality ways to improve your travel experience. With this established, one question remains: is the big front seat worth the money? Today, we'll be assessing the big front seat on their Airbus A319 from Indianapolis to Orlando. So without any further delay, let's go ahead and get started, everybody. Welcome everybody to Indianapolis International Airport. Indianapolis is one of the nicest airports in the United States. Definitely check out my Indianapolis Airport video for more insight. After a quick check-in and fast security lane, let's go find our aircraft in the A concourse. Welcome to Gate A24, where we'll find the Spirit Airlines Airbus A319 registered November 536 November Kilo, a 12-year-old Airbus A319. Boarding will begin shortly, so let's go ahead and get situated, everybody. And here we go for the pushback, everybody. Be sure to stay on the lookout for all the in-flight videos, as those will be coming out very soon. And here we go for our takeoff on runway 14, everybody. I really hope you all enjoyed this takeoff, as this was an absolutely epic power up and thrust reduction. Let's climb up to our cruising altitude of 39,000 feet, everybody. Alrighty, everybody, let's go ahead and break down Spirit, the big front seat, and this full itinerary between Spirit, Frontier, and Southwest for this incredible day on May 22nd, 2024. So let's go ahead and get started with Spirit. So I've always wanted to fly Spirit. I've always really been gravitated to how cool their livery looks, but not only that, of course, but just to see what the product's like, what the crews are, and so on. So when I found this itinerary, I thought this was too good of a deal to pass up. I got this base fare for $75, which from Indianapolis to Orlando is a pretty fair deal for this time of day and also the route, so I was certainly very pleased with it. But then when I saw a $40 upgrade to the big front seat, I certainly could not pass that up. I even asked you all on Instagram what you would like to see, and everybody voted for the big front seat, and rightfully so, because $40 is an absolute steal for the big front seat. So let's go ahead and break down the big front seat first, and then we'll talk about some other components of this. So first, the big front seat is the first class domestic offering for a seat that Spirit offers. They're the only low-cost carrier alongside Breeze Airways that really offers a product like this. So I thought for this flight it made sense, and I also didn't know when I was taking these flights at the time that my flight frequencies were going to increase so much. So I certainly thought it was worth it to get this experience, especially for this price. And looking back on it, I'm so glad I did, because normally big front seats do range anywhere from $60 to $100. So getting it for $40 was super good. But let's talk about the big front seat a little bit more in detail. So first and foremost, I would say the biggest takeaway is the lower back padding is phenomenal. So much so that I would say that's better than American Airlines' first class seat, which is crazy to say that. This was a Spirit A319 as well, so possibly this was a older retrofit, so that could be the reason that it was so much better. But I would love to try the big front seat again on the A320neo or A321neo to really grasp what it is now. But I was still beyond impressed with it on the A319. It was so good. The recline was amazing, exceptional legroom, and so on, as you can see here by the footage. I was certainly really impressed with this, and I had a great time. The tray table is also nice and large, so that was really nice for working on some photos here, as you're seeing as well. And overall, I just had a great time stretching out, and that was certainly worth the additional money. So better than any exit row seat that you can get, better than any economy plus, and so on. So that's really cool, and again, definitely worth the money. Now, like I was saying, these seats normally range anywhere from $60 to $100, which I would certainly say still worth it, especially if you're on a flight over 2 hours long. I would be delighted to do a transcon in this seat, as it is super good. So that's certainly really nice as well, and definitely really happy with that. In the future, we will be taking a look at Breeze's Ascent seat, which is their equivalent, and I do have great remarks for that one too, so stay on the lookout for that as well. But I can't recommend the big front seat enough. It is so nice, as you're seeing here by the footage. The legroom's amazing, and overall it is just truly a great seat. And was it worth $40 in this case? Absolutely. And would it be worth more than that? I certainly think it is, and I think that you can't really argue with how great of a seat it is. But this isn't the only benefit that I noticed about Spirit when I was flying them on this particular day, and we will have a comparison coming soon of some of these low-cost carriers, so stay on the lookout for that. But let's talk about some of the other observations I had from Spirit. First and foremost, probably the biggest one, and one that I thought was super cool, their package deals on their bookings are actually really reasonable, which is really surprising. Typically these deals on these low-cost carriers are not very good and usually don't really get your money's worth, but Spirit's actually was. So I noticed when I was booking, I believe it was for $45 or so, I could get a carry-on bag, a seat selection, and priority boarding, which I thought was absolutely fantastic. Spirit really offers fair deals on not only their bags, but also their seats and these package deals, and they're one of the only low-cost carriers that really does that. Typically, bags are anywhere between $35 and $40, which is right there with the legacy carriers, so it's really cool to see Spirit not scamming you for this compared to airlines like Frontier that make you pay $60 or more for a bag, which is just absolutely crazy. But nevertheless, Spirit does a really good job in that department. Additionally, seat selections are also really fair price. I was noticing in the back that windows were about $9 on this flight, which is amazing. It does depend on the length and the time of booking these seats, but if you are doing it in advance, you can definitely get a good deal, which is really cool and definitely helpful for people that would like seat selections, want to sit with their families, and so on. So Spirit, huge thumbs up in that department. That is super cool. Let's see what else I want to talk about here. There's certainly a bunch going on with Spirit. They also have a really fair buy on board program. You certainly can get your money's worth. I would recommend checking out Jeb Brooks's video, not only on Spirit's big front seat, but also his low-cost comparison between Frontier, Allegiant, and Spirit. He did a really spectacular job breaking down all the various components of what to expect with these low-cost carriers, and I can't recommend how good of a job that he did enough to you. So definitely check that out as well. But from my observations, I thought it was really fair, so that was certainly really cool. Spirit is also one of the few low-cost carriers to offer Wi-Fi on their flights. It is around $8 or so, and it is a pretty reasonable speed, so that's really cool as well. Another component of Spirit that I certainly think is worth noting is they're one of a few low-cost carriers to have a really consistent and congruent schedule. What I mean by this is they typically have daily flights on all their routes, which is really cool. A couple exceptions, of course, but for example, I wouldn't have been able to do Indianapolis to Orlando if it wasn't a daily flight, most likely. So that's really cool about Spirit, is especially if you live in one of their large operations in that city, you can easily go wherever you'd like, and it certainly makes the credit card definitely worth it, as they have some really good benefits on there, like a savers program, among other really cool benefits, Wi-Fi, I think, on flights and onboard amenities and so on. So honestly, for Spirit, I think they've done a really good job. Of course, they were planning to merge with Frontier initially before changing that over to JetBlue. Those plans have been terminated as of the time of making this video, so I really hope they're able to emerge out of their tough financial times right now, because I really do like their operation. I think they really offer fair and affordable and consistent travel experiences for their passengers, and I'm certainly very impressed with all the offerings that they have. So Spirit, I can't recommend them enough. They are probably my favorite low-cost carrier to fly on. I love their delivery. That's not the reason though. It's certainly how awesome they provide the passenger experience with. You actually can get a bag for a reasonable price, a seat, and so on, and I certainly was very happy with my experience. Yes, I was in the big front seat. Yes, it was a little bit saturated, possibly even biased, but I do have an economy trip report coming on Spirit soon from Denver to Las Vegas, and I got that ticket for $19. So we will certainly break down that experience, and I can report on having really good crews for the most part on Spirit, which has been fun so far. So I'm excited to take more flights with them in the future, and I'll be sure to report back with additional findings. But overall, from my initial experiences, Spirit's probably the best low-cost carrier out there. I think they have really good offerings. Sure, they don't fly to every single city in the United States, but if you are in one of these larger cities, even a city like Memphis or St. Louis, you can certainly take advantage of these really great deals that they have, and I'm certainly very impressed with what they've done so far. This was also a part, like I was mentioning, of this absolutely crazy May 22nd, 2024 itinerary that I was doing, which is Spirit from Indianapolis to Orlando, then a layover in Orlando, which we'll do a video on that. Then we'll have Frontier from Orlando to New Orleans, followed by a Southwest itinerary from New Orleans to St. Louis to Tulsa. This was the only flight that was on time to this point, and you'll see more of what I'm talking about. We'll break that down a little bit more in Orlando because we have a bunch to talk about there. So nevertheless, it was getting ready to thunderstorm here in Orlando, so I'll go ahead and show any supplemental clips that we have before our descent, and I'll conclude today's experience. But overall, Spirit's been really great. I was initially intending on this being economy, but when I saw the big front seat for that price, and again, that really justifies what Spirit can offer. You know, not any other airline can just say, hey, here's $40 and you can go get a big front seat out of it. One more component to mention that I didn't want to forget on: Spirit does have a bidding program for the big front seat and the emergency exit row seats. Pretty much what this is if the seat's not selected, the passengers can bid on it for a lower price. So for example, there was an article that I read, somebody was seeing a big front seat for $55, they bidded $34 on it and ended up getting it. If you're very strategic in regards to how you structure your moves and how you what you decide to bid on the price and how many people have seats selected, typically this bidding program works out really well. So I definitely hope to try in the future, as it does seem like a really good deal. So I believe I got all the factors that I wanted to mention in, so I'm sorry that this was really long, but I really wanted to give you a quality breakdown on what I thought about Spirit and try to make it a little more unique and distinctive to me rather than just giving you facts off the sheet. This A319, really cool aircraft. Super glad to fly one of these before they got retired. It was really nice, and honestly they did a really good job on it. So if there's any additional views, I'll show you those now, but nevertheless, we will get into the conclusion following that. So let's go ahead and see if there's any additional views to take a look at. Alrighty, everybody, so let's go ahead and conclude our experience on Spirit today. So this is going to be a bold take, but I think Spirit is the best ULCC out there, to be quite honest with you. Between the price that I got on the big front seat today, the service that we've seen, the bundle deals that you can get, and so on, I really don't think that you can complain with what Spirit Airlines is doing right now. They have an awesome congruent network, and overall you can get some really good times for some really affordable prices. If you're just trying to get from point A to point B, you can definitely get some stills, but if you really want to bump up that experience a little bit more for an affordable price, the big front seat is the way to go, and definitely one of the best ways to experience a first class seat in the United States on a budget. I can't recommend Spirit enough. I had a fantastic time. Again, we will be checking out their economy product in the future, so stay on the lookout for that. But nevertheless, the big front seat is so worth the money. If you ever get a chance to do it, please do yourself a favor and go ahead and do that, because it is an awesome seat. From the leg room to the lower back padding, which is phenomenal, you cannot beat it, and I had an absolutely great time. Be sure to stay on the lookout for the Orlando airport video as we explain this full day and what's about to unwind, as it's about to be crazy, because the smoothness will end with this flight with the landing, no pun intended. Be sure to stay on the lookout for all the additional trip reports, the in-flight videos, and so much more additional content to come. Spirit, well done. I am super impressed. You have a big fan here with me. I love your livery as well. But nevertheless, looking forward to more Spirit experiences, and definitely check them out if you ever get a chance, as typically they do a very good job from what I've seen. But nevertheless, here we go for our landing into Orlando International Airport, everybody. We're going to make a straight-in final after a quick base right here, so this will be a pretty simple landing, as we're landing on the west side of the airport today, and we'll have a relatively short taxi over to our gates. So nevertheless, I really hope you all enjoyed this runway, or landing, excuse me. I believe it's on 18 left, 18 right, one of those two. So I really hope you all enjoyed this. Definitely stay on the lookout for additional content. But nevertheless, here we go for our landing into Orlando International Airport. I really hope you all enjoy. Orlando International Airport, everybody. We have a relatively short taxi over to our gate today, so let's go ahead and take it on over there. Thank you so much for watching this trip report on Spirit Airlines' Airbus A319 in the big front seat from Indianapolis to Orlando. Be sure to stay on the lookout for all the in-flight videos to come from this leg of the trip, the full Orlando airport video and how this day is about to unfold, and so much more to come from this trip. But nevertheless, that'll do it for today's video, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching. My name is Redriveraviation. Take it easy, everybody. Stay safe. Trust the process. Do you love and love you do. My name is Redriveraviation. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon as Redriveraviation is signing off.